watching.
Hey everybody, that was a little freaky. Tried a new opening somebody sent to me, so thought I'd try it out there. I got a little bit of a radio station vibe out of that. I'll take caller number 5. Anyway, welcome to the Bet Like No One's Watching podcast. I'm your host, John Sullivan. You may know me as Buffalo66, or you may know me from some of the other podcasts I'm involved in, or my Twitter page, Buffalo Hold'em. If you're a first-time listener, thanks for tuning in. I just want to let you know this is a sports betting lifestyle podcast told from my personal perspective. You'll hear me talk about my wagering. You'll hear me talk about daily fantasy sports and other industry-related news. Those are common topics. So short on time today, so let's get right into it. Week 3 of NFL was mighty fine for me. I ended up playing the Monday night game, but overall I finished up 4-1 on the weekend. Started last Thursday with a pick'em wager on the Patriots, which won. And then Sunday I had 2 wagers on Denver, one at plus 3.5 and one at plus 4. And then I had the Redskins at plus 3, and all 3 of those covered very easily as both teams won outright. And then on Monday, I pressed my luck with the Saints. I got down to 2.5. Actually got down to 2 at one point. I believe I had 2.5, minus 2.5 at plus money. Didn't pan out. They certainly put up enough points, but they gave up 40-something. I was a little disappointed. That pick 6 in the late third, early fourth quarter was really the end of it all. But a 4-1 week after a bad start now puts me at 6-7 on the NFL season. Still a long way to go in the season. A lot can happen. Some ups and downs are coming, so take the ride with me. And moving along in my other wagers, CFL was an average week again, 1-1. Leaves me at 15-11-1 on the year. And that actually puts me under 60% against the spread for the first time in a long time. Over my 4-year sample size, I'm still over 60%. I'm not saying that's sustainable. Just saying that this year has been a little bit less than previous years, although I really feel like these final weeks of the regular season should provide some good betting opportunities. There's a lot of playoff impact games and what I call silly season games, where teams play that have absolutely nothing to do with the playoff picture, and they basically become tryout games for next season. So, but opportunities do exist. So if you actually want more in-depth coverage of my CFL analysis, I invite you to listen to my daily fantasy CFL podcast, which is also distributed through Fear the Beard Media. Which puts my podcasts on several formats, including iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, etc., etc., etc. So if you want to hear more from me, check that out. So moving on from last week, I played DFS again, and for the 3rd week in a row, I played on FanDuel, and I played CSU Ram 88, a.k.a. Peter Jennings again, and I lost again. And after 3 weeks of playing NFL DFS, I'm 0-7 head-to-head over there. Not good. I have had some bad luck, but without question, I need to do a lot more work if I'm going to try to be successful at it. I'm not really worried about playing $5 games in the scheme of things for the sweat and for the fun of it, but I'm putting in 1 to 2 hours, and I need to be putting in like 10 to 12. There's no question about that. I certainly tried to be contrarian in the cash games. I tried to be both contrarian and get a high floor. Didn't work out very well. What has worked well for me in the past has not worked well this season. I have not put up a good score yet after 3 weeks. Has me a little concerned, but not discouraged. However, on Draftkings, I played some CFL daily fantasy sports, and instead of doing cash games, I entered a GPP, or 3 GPPs actually, and I did very well. Only one of my lineups cashed out of the 7 different ones I used, but it competed very highly. I think it finished around 20th or better, between 7th and 20th, depending on which tournament I played in, for an overall ROI of 33%. My good lineup was really contending for the win, and I had Darian Durant as the quarterback, who pulled himself out of the game in the third quarter. He may have undergone concussion protocol after the game, but he had his bell rung, and he left of his own accord. Otherwise, I should have done better. I certainly don't want anybody risking their health over my daily fantasy results. But that's what happens in this game. Sometimes injuries take you out of it. While I am on the topic of daily fantasy sports, now is a good time to mention our sponsor, Rosters.com. If you're new to daily fantasy sports and you want to give it a try, I suggest giving this site a whirl. You can use the sign-up code CRAZY and get a free $20 bonus with your deposit of $10 or more. That gives you $30 to play with right away. And again, that's sign-up code CRAZY at Rosters.com. I have not had a chance to check it out yet. I don't have time to get much DFS in this week, but I'm going to look into it, and maybe we'll talk more about that in a future episode. As I said, unfortunately, I have to travel tomorrow, and I won't have time to play DFS this week, but I do have some wagers locked in and some more on the pipeline that I'll be talking about on my Twitter page. So why don't we review these real quick? Tonight in the NFL, we have the Miami Dolphins at Cincinnati Bengals. Current line is Bengals -8. And that, strikes me as funny. Even they only have one win by 1 point. Miami was actually down 21-0 to the Patriots, but ended up making it a 7-point game. I believe that was in week 2. Otherwise, their losses have been, their other loss was 2 points at the last minute, and then they won in overtime. But that game against the Patriots shows me that Miami is a team that just doesn't give up, that they'll keep pressing, even if they're a few scores down. Although Arian Foster is out, I think the Finns are healthier. And what really rings a warning bell for me is that Mike Nugent might not be 100% healthy for Cincinnati. That would affect maybe his range or his accuracy as far as kicking an important field goal in this game. This is a classic trap game line, but I'm on Miami +8. Everything screams that they're going to be competitive within a touchdown. So that's my first play of the week. And over, I'm going to jump to CFL. I have 2 plays already locked in for Saturday. There's 4 games every week in the CFL. And the first one is Calgary Stampeders at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And I have locked in Calgary at -2.5, even though they're the visitor. And my main reason for taking this bet is the Tiger Cats head coach, Kent Austin, is out for this game, suspended by the league. He is one of the better coaches in the game, in my opinion. Calgary is the class of the league this year. They only have 1 loss on the year. And although I wouldn't be surprised if they lost this game, they should compete every game. If they do lose it, it should be a close game. They're just above average in every facet of the game, and they don't make those self-inflicting mistakes. They don't, bad turnovers, bad penalties. Very rarely happens. And also Saturday night, I'm taking the Ottawa Red Blacks at the BC Lions. The Red Blacks +5.5. BC is in second place in the West. I believe they have the second best record in the league. They pretty much have a playoff spot locked up. Ottawa is struggling to stay ahead in the Eastern Conference. I think they're a lock to make the playoffs, but this is an important game for them. They have an explosive offense when fully healthy. They've had some banged up players. They've had some question marks at the running back position. Their kicking sometimes leaves me curious. Their kickers hit the post a few times. But 5.5 is a lot of points for this team with the quality of their offense. And barring a late turnover like they had against Calgary last week, I think a cover here is very likely. So Ottawa plus the points is always very attractive to me, and that's what I'm doing this week. Excuse me. So there's at least 4 more NFL games and 1 CFL game I'm waiting to wager on. Sometimes it's tough with Sunday games because depth charts and stuff aren't updated until closer to game time. So if you want to check out all my picks and my betting records, please visit my Twitter page at Buffalo Hold'em, and you'll see those when I post them. And I also keep an archive of all my podcasts and my screencasts at my YouTube channel, which is also called Buffalo Hold'em. So if you've missed an episode of this podcast or you want to check out my other ones, you can go there and they'll all be in one place for you. So that's it for this episode. Doing a quick and dirty episode as I'm getting ready to go out of town for 2 days. Hopefully next week I'll have some more time to go into some DFS industry news. There's a lot going on there. A couple of articles came out this past week. I'm not quoted in any of them, thank goodness. But there's some stuff I want to say about all that. And hopefully I'll get into some more DFS lineup building and things like that. So until next time, everybody, I hope you enjoy some football and bet like no one's watching. Thanks for listening. Take care.